Well, good morning. I'm Jeff Coleman.
And I'm Debra Pinkerton. Welcome to Morning Light. Catholic cardinals broke with tradition Thursday, electing the first American Pope.
And this is a live look at St. Peter's Square, where less than 24 hours ago, the faithful caught the first glimpse of the new Pope, offering his first official blessing as Pope Leo XIV.
First, though, here's a preview of what's coming up later in the show. Mother's Day is on Sunday. This is a special time to celebrate the amazing women in our lives who not only raised us with love, but also to recognize the powerful role they play in our spiritual lives. We will talk to a first-time mom about her journey, plus learn how you can support a mom whose child was born with clubfoot.
And for the record, Mom's card is in the mail. It was 7 minutes past 12 Eastern Standard Time Thursday when white smoke billowed from the Sistine Chapel, signaling the election of a new pope, leader of 1.4 billion Catholics. The biggest surprise of all, he's an American from the suburbs of Chicago, born Robert Francis Prevost, Bob to classmates. The longtime Catholic missionary holds American and Peruvian citizenships, but he has a special connection to Pennsylvania as a 1977 Villanova University alum with a degree in mathematics. So what does his selection mean to a generation in search of meaning and spiritual hope?
Yeah, well, it certainly is amazing, the first American Pope. And I was told that he speaks 5 languages, so
5 languages.
A very intelligent person.
Yes.
For sure. Well, the selection process of the new Pope was momentarily interrupted by a social post. A playful artificial intelligence-generated image of President Donald Trump dressed as the Pope. But the selection of the little-known American-born cardinal does set up an unusual side-by-side comparison of the two men. Both see the value of social media to shape world opinion, and both have a massive following. As Cardinal, Pope Leo said social media can be an important tool to communicate the gospel message or fuel divisions and controversy. Will the new Pope's tone help challenge and reform our own use of social media?
That's going to be interesting. The process, this was the first one really where we were seeing everything but what was happening inside.
That's
and
right.
I think it will change his pontificate for sure. Well, $34.1 billion. That is how much Americans will spend on Mom this Mother's Day. That's according to the National Federation of Retailers. But in one of history's great ironies, the founder of Mother's Day, Pennsylvania's own Anna Jarvis, whose campaign created the national holiday in 1914, also campaigned for its repeal. Jarvis felt Mother's Day had become too commercialized. She railed against florists and the greeting card industry, calling them bandits and pirates and racketeers for undermining a noble movement to honor mothers. So 111 Mother's Days later, just what is the best way to honor our mothers? We'll take this question to the Morning Light panel this morning. Good morning, panel. All of you have mothers and have done your duties. Excellent, excellent. Well, first, the selection of the Pope has been a fascinating process, especially for non-Catholics. And Dennis, thank you for being here this morning as our Catholic.
I'm the token Catholic today.
You are indeed.
Proud to be so.
What's your immediate reaction when you were watching?
It is so thrilling that there's an American Pope. You know, our family has a longtime friend that's a bishop, and he had always said, Dennis, we're never going to have an American Pope because America has a lot of money, has a lot of power, has a lot of capitalism, and much of the rest of the world in that part of the world is mistrustful of America. So it is just thrilling to see an American Pope. I certainly didn't see it coming, but it's spectacular. Now, we will point out, one of the commentators said he's the least American of the American cardinals. His ministry was in Peru, and he was at the Vatican, just elevated to cardinal in 2023. He was a right-hand man of Pope Francis.
There's a point where you wonder when people who are bilingual, in his case, is able to
Five
speak
languages.
five languages.
In America,
what language do you speak in?
I don't know. We partially won for most Americans. They barely speak one, most Americans. So it is pretty impressive.
So he went right out of the gate with a very serious homily to the College of Cardinals yesterday. I want to read just a little bit of it. The Pope says, "A lack of faith is often tragically accompanied by the loss of meaning in life, the neglect of mercy, appalling violations of human dignity, the crisis of the family, and so many other wounds that afflict our society." And then he says, "Today, too, there are many settings in which Jesus, although appreciated as a man, is reduced to a kind of charismatic leader or Superman." And then he ends, "This is true not only of non-believers, but also many baptized Christians who thus end up living at this level in a state of practical atheism." Michael Geer, Pennsylvania Family Institute. his comments on the family, and if you have over the years warned in Pennsylvania and watched the disintegration of traditional family, what is he saying here about practical atheism?
Well, I think what he's basically saying there, and hearing him use the word family and talk about the crisis of family, is a reality in the United States of America. It's a reality worldwide. When we see declining birth rates, we see declining marriage rates, and all of those sorts of things are the kind of things we've talked about at Pennsylvania Family Institute. And so when an institutional church as large as the Roman Catholic Church and the Pope is speaking about those issues, that's a significant thing to steer culture and to raise that knowledge or that concern among the people. It's important, and as you know, the television coverage has been going on with the conclave and with the choice of a new pope shows the influence and power that a pope and what he says.
It's quite a bully pulpit.
Well, yeah, and you look at John Paul II, what happened with communism and the coming down of the Iron Curtain shows the power of the Pope. And so speaking about family issues, about the reality of who Jesus is, are vitally important things.
Yesterday we had Scott Detrow on from NPR, and he was talking about this notion, this idea of moving from this idea of the church being in different continents around the world to a digital continent, that you have this world now with social media that just isn't bound by geographical boundaries. This Pope seems to understand that. The fact that we're talking about what he said to the College of Cardinals in the last few hours this morning, and it's driving debate and conversation, is pretty significant. What do you sense of this moment? President Trump has defined social media for at least a decade. This Pope now will have a voice in social media. What is the right way for him to use that platform, and perhaps the wrong way to avoid the political traps that some popes might be seduced by?
Sure. Well, it's a great opportunity, obviously, to get out the message of the gospel, to get out hope in a time of uncertainty in this world. We have systemic human rights abuses that are happening in multiple areas around the world. To give those people hope, you mentioned John Paul II. It took him physically being in Poland and landing there, spending time with the crowds there, that people erupted, "We want God. We want God." But now that opportunity is right at people's fingertips with their phone to be inspired by a message of moral clarity that we hope that this Pope will deliver.
Dennis, is it a spiritual or historical event for Catholics in the sense, I know...
Well, in this case, both.
It's both.
Yep.
What is the spiritual message that he is sending, especially to, you see this whole generation of young men, millennials, Gen Z, who are on a quest, but they're not in a church, and the church has been trying to figure out the form. This is a missionary.
He is a missionary, and I think he's very like Francis. Two of the things you look for, if there's a reform and traditionalist political bent, it is theological, but it's also political. He's more in the path of Francis, which a lot of people cheer. Those are the things you look for. Do we want to do more Francis in the conclave? Apparently, yes. I also look at the age. Just 69, relatively young, and now that I'm in my 60s, it's really young. So 69, he could be around here for 25, 30 years, for sure, 20 some years, and so that's going to be a long time. Americans have drifted away from the Catholic Church in numbers, as we all know. Will this be something that brings them back to the fold?
I'm hearing some people, especially Catholics longtime Catholics, use the word Christian instead of Catholic, often not referring to the church, but to Jesus. This Pope seems to be more relational when it comes to, hey, get to know Jesus, don't look at us. He was asking the cardinals to de-emphasize, make themselves smaller, is something he said.
I was talking to the Harrisburg bishop yesterday, who was appointed by Pope Francis, and he said that's what Francis was all about. He did not like the bishops, in fact, scolded the bishops that put themselves way above the people. He said, you're among the people, you need to be among the people and get to their level.
Beautiful. Let's talk about moms, shift a little bit. This is a complicated holiday for a lot of reasons because everyone doesn't have a great experience with their mom. People that struggle with infertility, people that have a regret about pregnancies, ending pregnancies, or pregnancies ending unintentionally. There's a lot of complexity around it, but it's also a beautiful holiday. Michael, what is the best way for us to look at Mother's Day and inject some meaning and purpose, and then maybe a vision for motherhood that may not be there in the commercialism?
Well, Mother's Day is complicated for me because my wife's birthday is always right around Mother's Day, so I have kind of twofer and all. Yeah, it's a double whammy.
But she gets two celebrations, to be clear.
She does, and now a grandmother as well. So certainly a blessing. The best way to, the Bible tells us in the Ten Commandments to honor your mother and father, and so honoring them, has a lot to do with how we live day by day throughout the year, in terms of the level of respect we show them and all those things. So you can't make up for not doing that on a one-day holiday with flowers or something like that. Conversely, it is important to honor different people in their different roles. We honor those who are in elected office and presidents and things. The Bible tells us to pray for those sorts of things. In the same way, talking about honoring your mother, that's a respected role that all of us, I think, as we do that day by day, can show the world the benefits of the nuclear family.
Beautiful. Is it still safe to talk about moms and motherhood in the traditional way that we have? I mean, we've been playing with terms and redefining terms and resetting the terms of what it means to be in a family. But how do we do that in the right way, Dennis?
Well, I will tell you, I became a parent. My mother was deceased when I became a parent, and it was then apparent to me how much sacrifice goes into being a parent, and I wish I could have told her the heartfelt and understood thank you for all the things she did for me, because I recognize it now in my kids' mom, and they're just the parenting aspect. A genuine heartfelt thank you of understanding what all you have done to get me to where I am, or to just, I think that would go a long way. I have a new appreciation, and sadly, I was not able to share that with my mom before she had passed away.
That's beautiful. Amber, I hear Michael saying, reminding people to honor your father and mother, but there are people out there saying, you don't know my mom. You have no idea what I went through. How do you, in this complex situation, still honor, love, respect, but at the same time recognize that it might have been difficult, might have been hard? So I know many people in our viewers have that experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Mother's Day can be both a wonderful time. I'm personally very excited for it. I already saw some crafting on the table that I think my kids are preparing. But it can also be really hard. It can be hard if you've had a negative experience with your mother. It can be hard for women who are going through infertility. It can be hard for women who lost a child. Yeah. And it can really bring a lot of that to the surface. But we have a big, loving, powerful God who sees our pain, who sees our struggles. He's the answer. Forgiveness of tragedy that's happened to you from a parent, or that's happened to you just through circumstances. Being able to seek that forgiveness, to see God as the answer, and sometimes to forgive yourself is really important.
That'll be the final word. Thank you all very, very much. Happy Mother's Day to you, Amber. Well, mothers hold a special place in our hearts, and in the Bible, motherhood is a divine calling, one that carries immense responsibility. So up next on Morning Light, you're going to hear from someone who has a beautiful Mother's Day story to tell. We'll talk to a first-time mom about her faith journey ahead on Mother's Day. You're watching Morning Light on Lighthouse TV.
Welcome back. Sunday is Mother's Day. This is a special day to honor the women in our lives who have nurtured us and prayed for our well-being. But mothers also need our prayers for strength, wisdom, and comfort. Alexis Sneller, policy analyst with the PA Family Institute, is celebrating her first Mother's Day, and she is here to share her journey with us. Thank you for being with us, and happy Mother's Day.
Thank you so much.
So what does this day mean to you as a first-time mother?
You know, it feels so wonderful. I've always wanted to be a mom, so I'm so excited to be here. And having children is not something that happened right away for my husband and I, so this is definitely a gift that I don't take for granted.
So tell us about your son.
Well,
I know we have some pictures.
Yes.
He couldn't be here today. I think you said he was taking a nap, but show us the pictures.
Yes, well, I mean, it goes without saying, you can see he is the world's cutest baby. He is so, so sweet and so much fun. He's just now starting to crawl, and he can really move backwards, not really forwards, but we can tell he's super active and just ready to get going. So.
Oh my goodness. What is the best part of being a mom? I mean, this is a true gift from God.
It really is. It's so hard to pick just one thing. I love that I get to see him experience everything new for the first time. I remember when he just discovered he has hands and feet that he can move and how he thought it was the coolest thing ever. But just to watch him grow has been such a gift. And also, I just love making him laugh.
What has really caught you by surprise? Something you were or weren't expecting?
Well, when you're pregnant, everyone tells you about how tired you're going to be and how hard things are going to be. And I've definitely been tired and things have definitely been hard. But I think I was surprised at how much that doesn't bother me and just how the joy that's so hard to describe just kind of overshadows all of the day-to-day difficulties.
Yeah, and there is so much joy, and it's something that people need to recognize that, you know, God made this small human being, and just you can watch, you know, how he's growing every day. Isn't that just amazing?
Oh, it's such a gift from God, and just every day I appreciate his design more and more, and just the beauty of life that he's created and what a gift it is, the way that he designed women and motherhood.
So family support is needed, and we were talking earlier, and you have a lot of support.
Oh, yes. I feel like I totally hit the jackpot with both my family and my husband's family. My mother-in-law is watching Daniel right now, and I'm just so blessed that he's going to grow up surrounded by so much love and support.
So what are you planning to do for Mother's Day? Or what is planned for you?
Yes. So we're going to go to church and then have lunch with family and play some games together.
Oh my goodness. For our viewers who are watching, what is your message to moms today?
I am in awe of all moms. I only have 7 months of motherhood under my belt, and so each day I'm just more and more thankful for my own mom, appreciative of how much she loves me, and just I have so much to learn, so I'm so thankful for all the moms and mother figures in my life and in all of our lives.
And what are you looking forward to as we're looking again at some pictures of your son? What are you looking forward to?
I am just so excited to continue seeing him grow. It's so fun to be able to do this with my husband and just gush over how wonderful he is. But I'm just so excited to see the ways that God has already grown me in is going to continue to grow me as a mother.
Alexa, thank you for being with us, and have a wonderful Mother's Day.
Thank you so much.
And coming up next on Morning Light, you can make moms smile. This Mother's Day, honor a special mom in your life with a gift to support another mom whose child has clubfoot. The details are in just 1 minute. Welcome back. You can celebrate the strength and love of moms around the world by supporting a mother whose child was born with clubfoot. Jenn Boyd, Communications Project Coordinator with Hope Walks, is here to explain. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Remind us about Hope Walks.
Absolutely. So Hope Walks is a Christian nonprofit. We're in York Springs, Pennsylvania, but we work in 14 countries, 11 in Africa and 3 in Latin America, to provide freedom from clubfoot for babies. So clubfoot is a treatable condition, but every 3 minutes around the world, one child is born where their feet are pointed in and downwards. And if it's not treated early enough, they will grow up with a disability. They won't be able to walk, run, or play without pain. Some of them unable to wear shoes, some unable to walk, which really opens them up to begging as they get older, some of them in child trafficking. So Hope Walks goes into the countries, and we train medical professionals in country to treat clubfoot, which does not require major surgery. It's casts and braces.
Like you have right there.
Like I have right here, yes. We also train midwives to recognize clubfoot when the baby is born and guide them to the clinic so they can get treatment as early as possible in the child's life. And then we also have parent advisors, and they have a few different roles. One, they go into the communities and they talk about clubfoot and the treatment to bring awareness. And then they also work with the families to plan and schedule their next appointment at the clinics. They help them to understand what's coming next in the treatment so it's not so scary. And then last, they share the love of Jesus with these families. A lot of them are local pastors. And just last year, we've had more than 700 people give their lives to Jesus.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
just because of what you are doing.
Yes.
So tell us about what you're doing for Mother's Day, and it has to do with what you have in your hand right there.
Yeah, well, first, happy Mother's Day to all of you moms out there. Happy Mother's Day to you.
Oh, and same to you.
Thank you so much. So this Mother's Day, we are just providing an opportunity for people to give a gift in honor of their mom or a mom that they admire, to help another mother in need. It will be giving the gift of walking to their child. I often say that my daughter is my heart on the outside of my body. So, you know, you're helping their child, and in a way you're healing their heart as well. But for the mom, it's really like an Isaiah 61:3 moment where it's a crown of beauty for ashes, oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of heaviness. And it's really a powerful gift that you're going to be able to give to help that mom, but in honor of your mom.
Oh, that is wonderful. Because the women in Latin America and Africa, they face some real struggles.
They really do. So there's a lot of stigma and shame when a child is born with any kind of condition or disability. Unfortunately, the mothers are usually the target of that. The community will tell them that they did something wrong during their pregnancy to cause this to their child, or that God hates them and this is a punishment for them, or that their child is cursed. Some of them will be disowned from their family because the family does not want the curse to continue. And some of them, their husbands will leave. And so I would say when I was in Kenya in October, and I've talked to some of my other colleagues, it's usually 90 to 95% of the time it's the moms who bring the children to the clinics. You know, sometimes we'll see couples, which is beautiful. Sometimes you'll see a dad who's determined to see their child walk. And we've even had grandmothers bring in the children, but most of the time the mothers come alone.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when we were talking earlier, you had mentioned in one case it was actually a teenager. Tell us that story.
Yeah, so one of my favorite stories is a mom in Burundi, and she actually had epilepsy. And so when her baby was born, it had clubfoot. She was afraid, and she knew she couldn't get her baby to the clinic because the clinic was more than 60 miles from her home. She was afraid if she would walk once a week to the clinic, that if she had an episode, she would drop her baby. And so she was just very afraid, and her 14-year-old daughter stepped up and said, "Mom, I will go." So once a week for 3 months, she watched her 14-year-old strap her baby sister on her back and walk as far as she could till she could get public transportation and then come to Hope Walks. We were able to help that baby have healing. She's now running and walking and playing. We were able to teach them about Jesus. And then because of our generous donors, we were able to help them with transportation assistance so that when she did walk and got to public transportation, she didn't have to cover the cost by herself. But can you imagine being that mom every week waiting for your 14-year-old and your baby to come back, and then knowing that it was God, it was Jesus that really provided that opportunity for them.
Yeah, for a 14-year-old, I mean, oh my goodness, and for her to do something like that, to make that sacrifice. So you're not only changing lives physically, but spiritually.
Right, yeah, when people give, it really does give the gift of walking to the child. But then you also have to think of the impact it's having on the community, right? This is a child that they said was cursed. And so now this child is walking around, there's no disability, there's no condition, and it's really a testimony to the power of Jesus and the healing that can come, you know. And then you look at the mom. The babies will grow up and they're going to be able to walk and they're going to be able to function in society. And they might not even remember that they had clubfoot if they were treated early enough, right? But the moms will never forget what they endured for the love of their child. And so to be able to honor them and give something to them, give them freedom in Jesus' name, I mean, He is our ultimate freedom.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you
And
for
once again, happy Mother's Day.
Yeah,
Have a
thanks.
wonderful day.
Thank you. Oh, and people can go to hopewalks.org, and there's a banner they can click on to give. But thank you so much, and you have a wonderful Mother's Day.
Thank you. And as Jenn just mentioned, to make a donation in honor of a woman who has impacted your life, go to hopewalks.org. Stay with us. We're back right after the break.
Welcome back. Well, happy Mother's Day to the mothers in our lives here at Lighthouse TV and mothers all around the world. For some of you moms, this Sunday celebration will be one of those hallmark moments: breakfast in bed, homemade cards, flowers, maybe dinner out. Enjoy every minute of it and don't blink.
Yeah, absolutely. But we do have to remember holidays bring up all kinds of emotions. Joy isn't a universal experience. This weekend may be the first one without your mom, or the relationship might be complicated, even painful. And you may not remember the last time you wrote or received a Mother's Day card, or maybe you've never even met the woman who gave you life.
These are all hard circumstances, but for all of you, God's promise is this. He knows, He sees, He understands, and no matter what your Mother's Day joys or pains or even regrets are, you are so very loved. God can deal with all the complexity. After all, He knows everything about you. So for Debra and the entire Morning Light team, I'm Jeff Coleman. To all our moms, happy Mother's Day. Send that card, go check on your neighbors, and God willing, we'll see you again right here next week.